Hello, midlife adventurers. Thanks for checking out the channel. You know, I wanted to share a little bit of information. This is actually our first content video that I'm going to put out about traveling and how to do some of these things. I've had a lot of people ask me how I actually am able to do some of the travel that I do. Is there's certain knowledge? Do you take advantage? And yes, I have worked in the travel industry for over 35 years now in some elements or some capacity, but a lot of it is not necessarily industry benefits and things that you can take advantage of, particularly over the last 15 years. Early on in my career, yes, there were a tremendous amount of benefits that were industry driven. But over the last 15 to 20 years, it's really been more about taking advantage of travel-related elements based on my need to travel for my job, but also learning about the different things that you can do. And so I thought for this first video, one of the things I'd like to share with you is I'm going to talk to you about 5 ways that you can actually offset the cost of whatever your adventure is going to be, whatever you want it to be. When you establish what your goal is or your adventure, I'm going to help you and give you 5 different ways that I've worked or have used and seem to really work pretty well, but many people are not aware of. And these are things that you can actually accumulate by doing everyday things that you have no idea you're doing, normal things that can help you accumulate and offset some of the costs, whether it's accumulate elements to cash in for free tickets or working to save money, getting rebates on things. All of these types of elements I want to share with you. So get ready, because we are going to go through 5 offsetting elements to reach your adventure. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, and here we go. Number 5, join all of the travel loyalty programs, whether they be airline loyalty programs, car rental programs, hotelier programs. Sign up for all of them. And I'll tell you why. Because even if you don't travel much and you don't accumulate a lot of air miles on a particular airline, do you know that those loyalty programs are also tied in with many things that you do every day, like eating out, restaurants, purchasing things, groceries, a lot of different ones. So you have to do a little bit of research on this, but you can sign up for these airline loyalty programs and there's no charge to do it. You do have to maintain a certain amount of activity, but I think you get 18 months and all you need to do is just do one trip or add, just have one element credit your account for miles. And those miles can actually be accumulated, number one, through flying, of course. Even if you want to take one trip a year, it's still worth it because you'll accumulate the mileage. Eating out, that's another thing. I know that both my Delta and United Airlines both have a meal program that you can sign up for. And if you eat out at certain restaurants, and doesn't even regardless of how you pay, just make sure that you give them your loyalty number and you'll accumulate miles and points. So that can actually help you build up those points, which you'll then later turn in and cash in for airline tickets or, rental cars or hotel nights. So that's the number 1 or number 5 on this list of things that you can do, is to sign up for travel vendor loyalty programs, airlines, hotels, cars. Sign up for them. It's a little bit of an administrative piece at the very beginning. And then also when you establish something or establish an account, try to drive as much business to that account consolidated. Don't spread miles across all the different ones, because ultimately your goal is to cash in and build as much travel equity or credit, miles, whatever it is, with a single vendor so that you can cash them in at a much faster clip. That's number 5. Number 4, the 4th thing that can help you offset the costs of an adventure that you've got planned. Credit cards. everywhere. Credit cards, solicitations. I get tons of these things every single day. And many of them are tied in with airlines or hotelier vendors. The one thing that you want to take a look at is which one would benefit you most based on what you want to do. But I mean, look at this. Here's 90,000 bonus miles using Delta Airlines, and I think this one is with American Express. Don't get me wrong, they have qualification requirements and certain things that you need to do. I think in this case, this one requires that you, in order to get to 90,000 bonus miles, you probably need to spend about $3,000 within the first 3 months of receiving the card. But if you're doing any sort of purchasing, if you need to make a big purchase like some furniture or something, or even just if you put all your household groceries on the card for the first couple months, it's got to bring you probably close if you have a decent sized family. So 90,000 bonus miles right off the top, that's probably enough points to maybe get you 2 tickets to Hawaii, 2 tickets definitely to a place like Mexico or the Caribbean. It would certainly get you a single ticket to Europe or to Asia, really. So there's a lot of different ways you could go about it, but this is just one example. Here's another example that I got. This one I think is from Hilton Hotels. It's 100,000 bonus miles for getting the Hilton credit card. I'm not sure if this is American Express or not. It might be Visa, whoever the tie-in is. But again, there's going to be some sort of requirements. I don't think it's quite that much. I think this one's probably more along the lines of maybe $1,000 in the first 3 months. So definitely worth it. But 100,000 points for Hilton Hotels could get you as much as, depending upon the type of property that you're looking at, could get you as 5 nights. It could absolutely get you 2 nights at one of the top of the line properties for free. So definitely things to go along. And again, everything that you're purchasing, you can put onto the credit card, and you got to pay it off, no doubt. But it's one way to build up and meet that requirement. And then you could actually have part of your adventure, whether it's airline tickets or whether it's your place to stay, possibly completely covered. The other credit cards that are out there too, Citibank, Discover, again, they all offer different programs. Some of the bank credit cards, they actually allow you to select and perhaps choose airlines. Only downside with a lot of these I've found is that you have to use their travel department. That you can't go to anybody that you want to choose. Whereas if you do something along the lines with one of these airline or hotel programs, you're pretty much free to book it yourself or use whoever you feel comfortable with. Even Discover gets into the game. So any of these types of things, credit cards, let them work to your advantage. Even if you choose a credit card that has a cash back incentive program, charge everything that you can to that. Use that and get the cash back, because that's free money coming to you. So it's definitely a way to help pay for it. I would look at aligning myself with perhaps an airline, because that's usually the largest cost, but either an airline or a hotel. And if you've got any other purchasing that you need to do, absolutely put that all on there, because you could end up having a good portion of your adventure taken care of. So that's number 4. Number 3 of list of things that you can do to help offset the costs of an adventure. Free tours. Everybody loves free tours. You probably don't realize that most major cities that you visit, depending upon the type of trip that you're taking, most major cities that you visit have programs where they will conduct free tours for tourists. And basically what they do is the guides actually run these tours, and they're all tip based. So you simply provide a tip for them. They're usually walking tours. They usually only run about 2 to 2.5 hours. But they're a good way to actually get a little bit of insight into the city that you're visiting, and without actually, investing a full day or spending a lot of money. I actually have done quite a few of these free tours. There's two tour companies that sort of arrange these things. One is guruguides.com, and the other one is called freetours.com. I've used them both. In fact, my friend Sharif, who I met in Cairo, and I actually did one of his tours. That's how I met him. He works for Guru Guides, and he's always advertising free tours. And I'll put some information in this video here if you happen to be interested, or you happen to be traveling to the country of Egypt, how you can take advantage of these. But most major cities across the world, including Europe, including cities in Africa. I've done these in Moscow. I've done them in Nairobi. I've done them in Cairo. Several different places. I'm going to be doing one in an upcoming trip to Athens, Greece. And I found this by just using Google and Googling free tours for a given city that I was going to. Again, they're tip-based. They don't last long, but they are usually walking tours. So if you're not a walker or you don't enjoy doing a lot of walking, it may not necessarily be for you. But many of the tours that they offer probably charge anywhere from $60 to $100 per person in a standard tour setup where you have a guide. These are all very knowledgeable people, often locals, and they do this with the hope that you'll like their tour and that you'll sign up for some other tours that are paid tours. That's the process behind it. But it's an excellent way to save a little bit of money on sightseeing and, put your money to use in other areas. But please do be courteous with them if you do a free tour, because they are tip based, and a lot of times they work, strictly on tips. But you will get an amazing experience presented to you by somebody that's very knowledgeable and locally somebody who actually lives there. So that's the third one, the free tours. Number 2 on the list, plan ahead. I know there's a lot to be said about spontaneity and so forth. Save that for your weekends, not for your dream adventure. You definitely want to plan ahead. I usually plan at least 4 to 5 months or more ahead, just to do the research and to take a look at all the options of how the best way to do the things that I want to do. Map out a strategy. It's very, very important. But there's also financial reasons that you want to do this as well. Now, there's a common notion that the further in advance you actually purchase something, the better price you're going to get. And that can be true at times, but it's not always the case. But there are some strategic times where it's better that you don't pay for things in advance. But you don't want to wait till the last minute to make some bookings. So, particularly when it comes to hotels, stay away from those merchant rates, those non-refundable pay now rates that if you have to make any changes, you won't get your money back. And if you're booking 4 or 5 months in advance, the few dollars that you're going to save on the nightly rate is not worth it. So you want to book something that allows you to reserve it right then and there, but you don't have to pay more than likely until you check out of the property. Again, you might pay a little bit more on a nightly rate, but it's not going to be that much. Do your comparisons, but I would absolutely stay away from those non-refundable rates that you have to pay for, especially if you're booking well in advance. When it comes to tours, there's a couple of tour companies right now. Viator is one of them that allows you to basically pay or reserve, but not pay for the tour until about 2 days prior to the tour actually commencing. So I book a lot of local tours through this company in a lot of different cities. And many times I've had to go back and change it, and I can change all the way up until about 2 days prior. Then they go ahead and charge my credit card, usually about 2 days, 48 hours before the actual tour commences. But I can't tell you the number of times I've changed the tour, I've changed the dates, I've downright canceled some of them just because I've decided to do something different, or I had to completely change the dates and it didn't work out. But if you can reserve it without having to put a lot of money up front, even a small deposit is better than 50%. Airbnbs are more than likely going to require a payment up front. You can get a great deal on an Airbnb, but it's not necessarily a good deal if you're booking well in advance. With the airlines, you don't really have a lot of flexibility there, although many of them right now are not charging change fees. You at least get one free change if you have to make a change, but you're not going to be able to hold the airline space and not pay for it until right before the trip. You're pretty much committed on that one. But those are the elements that can actually allow you to hold off investing large amounts of money up front simply by holding the space but not requiring a full payment, if any payment at all. I do that with all the local tours that I take and all the trips. If I can book it where I can hold it and not have to pay for it until right before I go. In many cases, I'm already where I'm at, and then they charge my credit card just a couple days before the tour. So that would be absolutely plan ahead, do your research, and find the ones that don't require either any upfront commitment or just a small upfront commitment, so you're not risking a lot of money, because I'm not a big proponent of travel insurance, and that'll come in a different content. I'll talk about that in a different video later on. So, number 2, plan ahead. Number 1 on the list of things that you can do to help fund your amazing adventure: save some money. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. There's some technology elements. I've recently been looking at some mobile phone apps that are out there that will help you save by actually skimming a little bit off of the bank account in small amounts and storing that for you in another place so that you don't even realize that it's gone. That can help you. I think it's called, one of the apps I've seen is called Digit. I've been investigating that a little bit to see how that works. But I've actually been doing something of my own little personal savings process for about 5 years now, and I call it Roundup. Basically, it's not a new concept, just something that I decided to do. Is I save all of my change and basically piggy bank it. Take the change in my pocket, piggy bank that as if I don't have it. So when I'm conducting commerce, I'm buying something at the store. If something's $1.56 and I have 75 cents in my pocket, I don't hand them $1 and then reach in and pull out the 75 cents in change. I actually give them $2 so that I get change back, and I keep accumulating change rather than pay for change. So when I get home, that change ends up in the piggy bank. And I would say that over the course of about 5 or 6 months, I've been managed, I roughly average around close to $200 of savings. That's when I take that savings and I use that towards spending money or sightseeing money on a trip, or however it goes. Well, this time I started something for this next upcoming trip. I started something a little bit different. It's the same concept, only I'm now using dollar bills instead of change. I'm still using change, but I'm also using dollar bills. So what I'm doing is treating singles as change and working with 5 and up. So if I have something that is $2.50, I give the person a 5, I get $2.50 back. That $2 goes into a savings, and the 50 cents goes into the change, the piggy bank as well. And I'm going to see how, if I'm able to do this. The key is for it to do it so that it doesn't cause you any sort of pain. You're not feeling it. You're thinking, okay, I've got $45, and instead of having $47, I now have $45. And so I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try this for the rest of the year and see how it goes. But I can tell you that the singles are accumulating really a lot right now, early on. So it'll be interesting to see how much I'm actually able to save by the next adventure coming in late November. So If you start saving and you plan ahead, you'll be able to save a lot of money for your adventure. And if you follow all of these tips that I've included, all 5 of these things, not only can you get some of this stuff paid for by doing everyday things that you normally do anyways, you'll also be able to save a little bit of that money too and have spending money and just have an amazing adventure just by doing everything that you would normally do in a daily routine. So let me know what you think about those 5 tips. If you have any other ideas or suggestions, or you need help starting anything, or want to learn more about anything, the things that I've done here to try to help fund these things, comment on it, subscribe to the channel, because I want to keep making these videos. I want to keep coming up with different things to help you achieve these things. And I look forward to the next video, because you know why? There is more to come.